12-year-old boy is suspended for staring at a female student. It happened at a Catholic school in Glendale. Fox 19 Now's Michael Baldwin spoke exclusively with the parents. Michael, I'd like to hear all of the details on this.
Well, Tricia, the parents took the school to court yesterday because they want their son's suspension erased. He was suspended for doing this. Parents of a 12-year-old Catholic boy are a little peeved. Their son was suspended from school last year for staring at another student. It happened at St. Gabriel Consolidated School in Glendale.
The perception was that he intimidated her.
Kicked out of school for staring at another student? The parents would not let their child be filmed, so I asked the mother to show me the face her kid said he made. The school says that stare was intimidating. The parents took the school to court to get the suspension erased from the record, but they lost the case. In court documents, though, the school said the discipline is consistent with the handbook and the female student felt threatened. The Tolbert son even wrote an apology letter. It reads in part, "I never knew she was scared because she was laughing. I don't want to be suspended anymore. This will be my last time intimidating anyone." The parents say they didn't know about the incident or the apology letter until 3 days after it happened. The parents told me the same student who said she was a victim did something pretty bad herself.
So the same girl that accused my son of this act of perception of intimidation aggressively poured milk on someone else's lunch. When she did that, there was no repercussions for that academic penalty. She received nothing for that.
We tried to talk to the school. They sent us a statement saying, quote, Judge Patrick Dinkelacker listened to the plaintiff's arguments yesterday, rejected them, and dismissed the complaint against the school. We aren't going to comment any further on particular issues concerning our students. All right, even though the parents lost their case, they are considering appealing. We're live in the newsroom. Michael Baldwin, Fox 19 now.
Okay, so you guys checked out this, pretty ridiculous story. Now, one thing I want to point out that I had an issue with was the fact that they did not let the father speak one time. And I'm pretty sure when you guys checked out the film, the mother and the father walked into the room. They both sat down at the table, but you notice they only gave the mother airtime. And I'm pretty sure the father spoke on, his son's behalf and what he felt about the situation. But a lot of times when the media covers certain things, they don't want black men to speak. And what was not mentioned in the news segment was that this little girl was a white girl. And the fact that it was a white girl, the fact that that black father was there, which he definitely should have spoke up on behalf of his son, which I'm sure the brother did. But like I said, they don't want fathers to speak on their son's behalf. They want the mother to come out there, somewhat pacify the situation or, play the victim and not say what really needs to be said. Because there's this big fluctuation of black men being feminized, being emasculated, and thus basically not wanting to be heard. So I noticed that in this segment, I want to point that out because that happens a lot when newscasters cover certain stories, especially when it's involving black young males. But like I said, the young lady or whatever that is so-called was in fear, she was a white girl, and that plays a big part in this story. Now, we all know that there's girls from kindergarten all the way up that are very flirtatious. A lot of these girls are fast out here, and they'll do certain things to boys. And then when the heat gets put on them, or somebody actually puts them to the test with whatever they're suggesting to these boys, and y'all get my drift of where I'm going with this. They want to say, "Oh, well, I didn't mean it that way," or I was in fear, or he sexually harassed me. This happens all the time, and it goes all the way up into adulthood. Just when you become an adult, the penalties become a lot harsher. But what this really is, and what the statement that is being made in this story, is that this is a young black male looking at, or quote unquote scaring, a white girl. Now, this white girl has probably been brought up in the home like, Becky, you don't talk to that black guy over there. You stay away from him. I don't want you talking to that black guy over there. If they look at you or say anything that you feel like you're being harassed or you're in fear of, I want you to report it. When a lot of times these white girls, they've been told all their life to stay away from the big black buck. So when they go off to school, even as young as elementary or college, they have that curiosity of that black male, whether it's from just an overall curiosity, whether it's a sexual curiosity. These things happen. And the image and what they were really trying to say to this young black boy, that you better not say or look at this white girl in any type of way. We saw this with Emmett Till. You guys know what ultimately ended up happening to Emmett Till. We've seen this throughout our history with the relationship between a white woman as young as 5 years old and a black boy or a black male. We've seen historically what ultimately happens within these cases or these situations. And that's basically what they were trying to say. And then you saw the parents went to the court and said, yo, this girl has been in trouble before. She goes around antagonizing people. But nothing was happening because the justice system frowns on the relationships between young black boys and young white girls. So you're not going to get any rights when you go to the courtroom. And that's why I felt like, the father should have spoken and said what it is. My son went to school, whether he found this young girl attractive, whether they both was flirting with each other, or whether he was minding his own business and this white girl decided to run home to her parents or run to, supervision within the school and say, well, this black boy, he's harassing me and, I'm in fear. What they're really saying is that, little nigga boy, you better not look at that white woman the wrong way or that white girl. And this carries on into adulthood. Then they mention in the story, not to get, too far off of that, he had wrote a letter and basically apologizing for what all went down. And the parents were not even notified until 3 days after this. Now, if you have something to where a child feels like they're being threatened or they're in fear, whether it's the victim or whether it's the person that's actually doing, you let that parent know ASAP. You don't wait 3 days down the line and say, oh yeah, well, your son was involved in a so-called harassment dispute with another young lady in the classroom or at the school. And that goes to show you the respect they have for this young boy and his parents. But, I just want to come out here and point this out because, us as black folks, we have to educate our children about the perception and imagery that happens out here in the world. Because it starts as young as 5 years old. When they interact with, especially our young black boys, when they interact with young white girls, there's a certain type of demeanor and a certain type of connotation that comes with that. But you guys give me your feedback on this stuff because, I think it's ridiculous. The parents definitely need to appeal this. And I don't know if it has to go as far as him being taken out of the school because, they might have to do that. Not saying you're submitting or you're saying that your son was in the wrong, but we all know the game changes when it comes to young black boys. And he's going to be looked at as a monster no matter how you flip or turn this situation. So you guys give me your feedback on what you thought about the story. What do you think the parents should do next? But, this is something that we deal with day in and day out, and it happens all the way up until adulthood. I know there's brothers out there that have, went through sexual harassment cases, have been lied on, and basically used as a guinea pig because we don't want to have sex with a white woman. Or we don't want to submit to the forces that this world has created around us. But you guys give me your feedback. I'm out.